Start. The hell is that? Why can't I just fix things? Ah, there it is. Sorry. If you have any questions, remember, ask questions, and I try to answer them. I will look back here and see if I have actually. What I'm going to do today is just work on the whole thing, trying to get in the whole sketch. So now I actually can use my bigger brush and go right into kind of covering the canvas. That is basically what I am going to do today. I was actually going to film the whole process, but it's not that necessary. Let's see here. Just, yeah, that's a little bit wrong. Maybe use some of my. That's actually going to be more blue, but also kind of push it down a little bit with the ivory black. So, because this lighting is really horrible. It's yeah. It kind of makes everything look so white. Also, I'm using my mobile telephone, and I have no idea how to adjust the camera. I tried to actually get my other camera and use that today but I couldn't get it to work. My computer won't pick up the camera despite having a thing that should actually link it together, but I need to go to the store and see why. So, well, anyway, only problems. You know, I think I'm going to start live streaming a little bit every day when I paint, or many times a week. I'm just going to jump in and start. So if you want to join me, you should have the notifications on, so you get notifications when I start, because my schedule isn't that focused, so I never really know if I can do a scheduled program, but I'm going to look into it and maybe have people get notifications. So yeah, I'm just going to see if the card is ready, so I can also make a film to my YouTube. Not there yet. Yeah. Can work a little bit there while I wait. So now it is quite dark actually up here. So I'm just gonna. I noticed that actually using the ivory black, even mixed in with the blue black, kind of makes the blue more toned down. As I said before, the blue black had a tendency to become a little bit too blue, a little bit too cold. So if you want some warmth in the blue, you need to use ivory black. I also have some lamp black here. Maybe I should actually add some lamp black also. Please ask me questions and I can communicate with ya. I think this is a very good supplement to actually do some live streaming, but of course I'm going to get a better camera so the lighting and everything becomes better. Sadly, I need for my looks. You see how flat It's very flat. The light also I lose a lot of color actually. There's so much rich colors here, so I also lose a lot of that. So that is why it's this is done, there will be a very long tutorial finished. So yeah, what I'm doing now is this is just the basis, and that's the thing, you know. This is the easy thing to just add in. Also, I like to use these from Da Vinci. It's a boar bristle, whatever you call it, boar. It's not a pig bristle. I wonder, is that halal? That it should probably be halal in Islam. Is there any Muslims here? So, you know, answer me that. Maybe? No, I guess not. Anyway, it's Friday night, so I guess people are out doing other shit and staying on YouTube. But I think it's nice to record the process anyway. So I just feel, and I say this over and over again, I just feel how, when I do this brushwork, how I just fall in love every single time. That feeling is like, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't like to run I didn't like these long running sessions in the gym hours in school, but when we were running in the woods, I loved it because there was so much happening when you were running. You had to concentrate. Just running from one place to another is just so annoying. You know, I always just do that light stall over there, and I couldn't stand it. And maybe that is also why I kept my knees, because I never, or doing martial arts for like, how many years is it now? It's like over 40 years. Let me see, over 40 years with martial arts, and I killed both my hips and got them replaced, but I still have my knees, and that is probably why I never liked running. That has never been my thing. So, yeah. Maybe I'll make this into a 3-hour marathon stream. Why not? So I can get the whole thing in. Just keep streaming and streaming and streaming. I know that in the United States now it's like 9, or in New York it's like 9 in the evening. Most of America might be that. I don't know. But yeah, I love the shadow. There's a full shadow from his head down here, and it's just such a nice detail. When I'm actually done with a sketch, I let it dry for about 1 day, and then I start doing basically a wet more focused sketch. So it's kind of sketch layer number 2, but a little bit wet, not totally wet, but a little bit. So it's kind of easy, almost like when you have wet clay compared to hard clay. Now it's wet clay. When you kind of have become a little bit more dried up, it's kind of more sticky, or so you can actually add in a new layer without it mixing too much into the paint you put on. Like here I needed to stop because I noticed that I kept on adding, shall we say, too much color, and I started to mess it up. So I just needed to stop before I went over the deep end. So yeah, I do want to have most of this process on tape for my YouTube video, so just gonna see if it's done. And I'm almost there! Come on! %, 99%. Boom. And big bada boom. And I can delete some files. These ones first. These ones. That should do it, I think. I think also some of these. So yeah, that should do it for tonight. So, just gonna put this one on for my, say hi if you're new here, give it a thumbs up, and remember to leave a comment. That would help me greatly. At least a thumbs up would be marvelous if you can. Now, not everybody has what do you call it? Profile on YouTube, and if you don't have that, you can't really comment on anything. So that is basically how that is. So let me see. So okay, I'm just gonna start filming. Yeah, there we are. Please wait. Okay. Why? Why does it always has to be something? Please wait. What? There was something. Stress. No, nothing. Now my camera doesn't seem to work. For heaven's sake. Ugh. Oh, gods. Oh, it didn't turn off. Turn it off. This was something, you know. Jesus Christ. Okay, now it works at least. Quality. Radio. Turn it down. Please wait. Come on! Wait for what? Oh, there we are. Okay. No! It stopped again. Now, maybe. Okay. We're filming. Two looking now. I wasn't there, was I? Hello. I'm quite frustrated here trying to do two things at the same time. Anyway, I'm going to keep on going a bit. Now I'm thinking I'm going to take this one over there as I go along down, but at first I'm going to add in here. So I need to remove that photo. You can actually see the photo now. Some people actually sometimes ask me if I can show the photo when I paint, and I might start doing that. I know my videos, when I make videos, is quite crude. It's not so advanced. I don't, maybe I should do a better job to actually understand how to make better YouTube videos and stuff, but anyway. So here we are. Need more black actually. Maybe I should try the lamp black also. Just have 3 black, just to see what happens. It's a very good quality color also. It is called Michael Harding. And I use Winsor Newton blue black. And my ivory is from Old Holland, actually. So yeah. Three different. Now, the lamp black looks grayish. The blue black is more blue, like the kind of very blue. And I mix it with French ultramarine. It kind of tones down the ultramarine, but it keeps the bluish. Now what happens if I use lamp black? Lamp black is way more earthy. So I guess that's, and it doesn't compute at all. So now I know that. A lamp black is probably something you use in more earthy places, like if you paint a landscape, things that are far away or something like that. I don't know. But you know, expand. I do have three of the most. If you see my palette, it is, I have three yellows. I have now 4 actually with the orange. I don't want to mix orange from yellow and red because, you know, it takes so much time. It's easier to have it like this. And there you have vermillon, cadmium, alizarin, and then I have tree blue, cobalt, French ultramarine, and Prussian blue. Prussian blue is the mother and father of blue. I mean, it's so vivid. It's like blueberries. When if you have blueberry on your shirt or something, you see here, boom, that was a little bit of Prussian blue in it, and it just lighted up everything. And yeah, so there's So shadow in there. I go to the blue, I think, maybe ivory, to get it down like this. And this is so fun. I just love this. You know, I have fun now. It's the best thing I can do. If you want to have cloth, you mustn't do like this. I mean, you can do this, but you kind of try to knit it. If you want to, if something is made of cotton, if you painted latex, you want to have it flat, then you might do flatter and flat all the brushwork out to get that shine. But when you have cloth, you don't want to remove the cloth feeling. You want to build it, so you build layer upon layer, and in the end the cloth falls into place and starts to feel a little bit more real. Now I'm going to do the shadow here, so then I will use bluish and what is it called again? I need to show you that so you know. Oh, it's almost covered. So there it is. It's called Brilliant Gel Light or Brilliant Yellow. I like this one too. I think it also tones down the colors in the right way. Yeah. No questions asked yet, anyway. And like this. This is the good thing. Also, in the shadow, as you go along, you need to make sure that the shadow isn't just a hole in the wall behind there. That you get this basically the same texture in the shadow that you have in the lighter part of it. That way it will actually look like a shadow, not a hole in the wall. And you can also, you just build up the whole thing and then you glaze in the shadow. That's a way to do it. They say Rembrandt did that in the Night Watch with a spear. A painting I haven't even seen yet, so I need to take my lady down to go to Netherlands and see that beautiful painting soon. But right now I have so much to do and so many commissions and unfinished things, so I want to finish a lot of unfinished business before I take a short vacation. You know, when you're an artist, you don't really need a vacation. It's like you, as an artist, you know, most people in Norway, they go up with a pension when they are in their 60s. But as an artist, you never really stop working. You know, it's a life. It's not a job. It's a life. It's something you love. So I will, of course, do paintings until the day I die, which I hope is still far in the future, because I have so much life in me and I have so much to do. Yeah, so just a little bit here. And maybe this is that interesting as if I were painting a portrait, and I'm also going to do live streams of very close up where you should see me paint close up. So, and I think I'm gonna basically do live streams from all the different paintings that I'm doing. So yeah. So okay, just gonna mold in this one. I think I maybe made it too broad, so we should go down here. Yeah. So, yeah, I think. Okay. When I can see things happening and see no more likes, then I guess I'm not that grey. I'm not that bald, am I? Look like my face is hanging. Horrible lighting. I don't look at them like that in real life. Hope you understand that. Maybe I'm biased. I guess there's been too much stress in my life for the last few years, so I guess it aged me quite fast. But that's how it is. You can't stay 25 forever. And, so forever is a very long time. First, I didn't exist forever, and then I came into existence in the forever, and then I'm going out of existence in the forever. It's like he says always look on the bright side of life. Life of Brian. He sings, what are you lost? You're coming into existence and going out of existence. What are you lost? Nothing. Came from nothing, going back to nothing. What are you lost? Nothing. It's true. And as George Carlin did say, the American comedian, which is dead now, he said, the problem isn't being dead, the problem is getting dead. And unless you're a Christian or a Muslim or somebody who believes in hell in some form, you are not going to be punished or have a bad time being deceased. And as my late hero Christopher Hitchens did say, hell is other people, and might be some truth to that, because there's a long distance between good people, I mean really good people. And it's sad because being good makes not just your own life better, but it also enhances other people's life, which should be basically a goal in itself. So yeah. Habits of the people. That is a sad thing, you know. Before Adolf Hitler shot himself, he said, well, just one little click and it's over forever. Eternal peace. And it's true, you know, he got away with, as they say, murder. That is why I hope that Vladimir Putin will experience some, shall we say, retribution before he goes, which I surely hope he does before he destroys both Russia and Ukraine. So let's see. As you see, I just keep adding in the things here, just jumping around now in these different black, but I haven't touched this one, and it's quite an expensive, the cobalt. I haven't even touched it yet, but I think I see that there are some cobalt in the lighter areas of his suit, so I might use it later. Actually, when I know, it is like the stores, you know, in Norway, throwing away so much food. And I told one of the people who work there, why don't you just have it, you know, just kind of write down what you use and what is sold most every day. So, because there are statistics, you know, people are habit animals, and if you do sell, and you basically will know what you sell the most of every day. And I can't understand why they take in hundreds of, maybe at least, they take in way too much fruit and vegetables and they throw it away. And they should be able to have this, write down approximately how much is sold every day. But they don't care, you know. And it's kind of frustrating, actually. Not to me, because I'm a dumpster diver, so I find most of my food in dumpsters. You know, it's all wrapped in plastic now anyway, so there's no danger, and we save a lot of money. So for me, it's good that they throw it away, but I think it's a sad thing on the whole, you know. You see now. Hello. Wait. Need some more medium soon. My medium is just 70% turpentine, balsam turpentine as it's called in Norway, and some linseed oil, crema oil furnace. I think there's some crema linseed oil furnace. There is some kind of drying thing in it, but it's basically cooked linseed oil. And I just mix those two together, and I use that as my medium. Usually I don't mix much medium into the colors, but it happens while I paint, because I use also the medium to kind of dry the pencil between every layer. So that's how I do it. This is not dark enough. Anyway, go in and we'll darken this down, like Arnold. Let's see. you see how loose it is? It is basically the hand of Sick Child of Edvard Munch. the hand of the child is there was a hand in there. They said, well, it was like a fiskepudding or fish pudding. And he got very much criticized for his lack of detail, and he basically just painted symbols for different things. But the Sick Child painting is probably one of my top 10 paintings in the world. And I also have actually some. I was at the National Museum with my girlfriend Amalia, and she yeah. So I haven't posted a video from it yet, and just I have so much to do, you know. And videos takes time, and you have to find time and stuff. So, but now I'm just gonna move this one because I'm going to do the other side. And it's also better for me to have a perspective where I see these two photos together. So this, I'll start up here and just work myself down. Just see what happens. And that's good, and that's good too. Not much traffic here. Oh, you made it. Me, M-I-D-M, I made it. Hello. Just ask me some painting questions and I can answer some questions if you like. Remember, give it a thumbs up, it's quite important. This lighting really looks like shit. I look really horrible. Nah. But that is what you have to do. I need very good lighting for my paintings. Can't just paint in this you know, candlelight. Everybody looks good in candlelight, but in fluorescent lights, oh, the horror. But anyway, I just have to live with it, I guess. So, yeah. Just gonna put in those two fingers. The two fish fingers. There's one finger going up. Boom, 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 boom. And there's one small one here. So that's the two fingers. I will adjust that a gazillion times before it's finished. So, yeah. But I won't do this now. Get it done. Now the sketching process doesn't take me that much time. As you can see in the video, I basically did the whole from the sketch. I lost a few minutes when I had to empty my card and reset. This process, of course, the face takes the most time. It's funny to think about, you know, how much I have been using my hands during my life, and they still function. That is almost crazy. Now I'm actually, that's what I'm talking about. Talked about in the other. I often I just have. Also gonna wait a second. I was gonna show you a different color I use a lot, and that is where is it? Where is it? I kind of burn through a lot of pencils when I do. Yeah. This is Maple Gel Rouge Extra, and that is basically the three broken whites with some. One is reddish, one is more yellow greenish, and the one is kind of in the middle. The what do you call it? This one. The broken, yeah. This one is called Brilliant Yellow Light or Brilliant Yellow, and you have this Roudish, Naples Gel Roudish. Extra, extra, Naples Yellow Extra or something, yeah. Anyway, and you have this one, which is Naples Gel Extra, and this is the more yellowish thing that I use when I paint skin tone a lot, and mix red into it. I also use, of course, clean colors, colors from the rainbow, the primary colors. I need actually to have all this on my palette, so come on. So the mobile phone is not good to stream from. Maybe I need a program. Anyone know what a program? Maybe I need a different program to stream. Best streaming programs for iPhone. I don't know. I just used the app from the YouTube app. Actually, so much better to tone it with ivory than only the blue black, and it's kind of the tone becomes way more harmonious, and I can always kind of bring it back up again if I want, with adding in more cobalt or more French ultramarine into, like a tint like this. Now there's more blue. And yeah, when I'm done with this sketch, I will, as I said, do one more go on it so I get in more of the details. But that is what I do after after something. After it has dried for a day or something like that. You know, if you add thick colors, people ask me often, how long does it take for paint to dry, or how long does it take for the paint to be dry enough to put in the bouche vernis, and it just depends on how thick colors, like here in the light areas in the face, it's quite thick, so it will take a while, still very wet. That's when I stopped yesterday to add in more color, because if not I will just mess it up. You have to kind of train your stop system, because I tend to become very, very manic when I paint, because for me it's basically like being on the dance floor or in training and or something, and I could just get so high on it, and I have real problems regulating that thing. So many times I just go too far, and then I start basically destroying more than I create. I just have to put on my second camera because I'm filming the whole process for you, for my YouTube channel, which you are on right now. For a few of you, that is there. MEDM. You can, if you're still there, you can ask me some painting questions. It's easier for me to talk. Someday might be many people in here, and then I can have a nice conversation with people while doing this. If you do want to have personal guidance and personal sessions like this, you can go to my Patreon and sign up for one of the tiers there. There's one that is like $15 that gives you a few hours with personal guidance a month. I will also add in other tiers on YouTube. No, on that will give you more, like maybe once a week. Or anyway, if you want to pay me, if you have a lot of money and you want to do it basically several times a week, that's fine by me. But for one session, it's not much. It's like 150, not 150, but $15 in Norwegian money is like, it's not even if you work in industry, you actually get 500 or $50 an hour. You would be paid $50 an hour if you worked in, like, if I used to be a welder. If I actually did weld, I would have $500 or $50 an hour in Norway. And if I was working in the North Sea, it would be even more. But I chose this artsy life over money. Actually, I sold very well and I spent too much money, so it's not that I was a very economically successful person for a while, artist for a while. I kind of screwed it up a little bit with too much waste, and that is what I talked about in my video on YouTube. Advice to a young artist that you don't waste your money. If you waste your money, you will come into the situation where you have to do a lot of commission work and stuff. This one I wouldn't say no to anyway, but it would be, and it's expensive. You know, it's like $8,000 for this. So, but it's a firm that is paying for it, so it's okay. If the dollar was smaller, would even be more, but the dollar is quite high now. And luckily on Patreon I get paid in dollars, so the dollar is high now, so that's good. I want the stream to be, or me teaching people not to be too expensive, so people that doesn't have too much money also can hook up. I also like to talk to people and teach people, so for me it's a win-win situation. I get to kind of have a conversation, which I love actually, and meet people from all over the world. So. And it's so sweet when you hear from people and they say, oh, I started painting because of you. I learned so much because of you. It's like the quote I have in the description of my videos, like for Horace Mann, you should be ashamed to die until you won us a victory for humanity. And it doesn't have to be much, you know, it just doesn't have to be much. I mean, being a positive force that affects other human beings in a good way will have some kind of ripple effect in the universe or in general. If every human being will think about, okay, let's do a small thing, doesn't have to be big, and they took care of himself, which is even more important, we will live in a very, well, in a extremely much better world right now. So yeah, so that's my little contribution, and I also can make a living from it, which is very, very nice. Indeed, it's good for your self-esteem, it's good for everything. Now, going on a spending spree every time you get some money is just silly. Save, like my mother used to say to me, and I wish I listened. You have to save something for a rainy day, but with my typical ADHD and stuff and hypomania, I've never been good at thinking ahead. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm just looking at it. I think that arm has to go more out. Yes, it has to do that. It's kind of going more out here, which means that the finger is going to probably be longer this way, as I said. But these things are minor things. It doesn't. The most important thing is to get this right. The hands. Actually, everything is basically equally important. But because you don't want this line down here to be wrong compared to the fingers. Like now I can see the arm, or the other arm, is coming out underneath. I didn't notice that actually before now. It's coming out, you have this thing here, and then the other arm comes about here, and that finger actually goes right through a little piece of light down here, which is of course the shirt under the dress. And I see the hand is then coming underneath here like this, and it actually goes out, and then the finger comes up here and the other one here, and I'm just going to move that around a little bit. But what I notice now is that the jacket is all the way in here. So that was a big mistake. But it doesn't matter, because it's easy for me to move it. And these things fall into place as I go along. Yeah. There we have it. I think also this is going to be a little bit closer. Yeah, if I see this, this is going a little bit higher. Yeah. So, almost the whole sketch is in. I'm pleased with the sketch actually. I'm also going to do some more on the arm thing, other things, but I'm also going to do, there's this, you know, we are thinking, because he's a leader for the shipping union or something. The shipping, not the union for the workers, but the union for the shipping industry, the people who basically owns shipping, or ships, or was actually. So that's why his portrait is gonna hang on the wall. And yeah, I'll be pleased with it, I think, when it's done. I think I made his head a little bit too high, but that is because I made this here. This should have been a little bit more up like this. But that is also things, first, when it dries, I go back to the face, I mold the face again, and it becomes more like that. And then I work myself down. Then I start to see different mistakes done down here. And then I but always stick with this. You make the face, and then you sketch the body. And then you kind of go back and you sketch more, and then you see the mistakes. You don't need to use diagrams and, you know, put the canvas up in lines and stuff. You're gonna do mistakes anyway. So just try to go right into it. Try to do it like you see in my videos. I just put the first boom, 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 and I get it approximately right, and then I just keep on shaping it. That is the way to go, as I see it anyway. That's the way I always did it. I wouldn't even bother having this net of, because it's so stressful, it's so rigid. I want to paint, you know. I want to put paint on the canvas. That is what I love. That is why I paint. I just paint because I want to put paint on the canvas. That's the whole idea. Why do you paint? I don't want to save the world. No, not really. Just add something positive. Do you mind? Do the thing I like. Also, you should never think about, oh, I have to figure out something new. I was actually going to talk about this. There's a rope coming down like this, and he made this båtsmannsknute, as it's called. Is a kind of it's higher up actually. It's all the way up here actually. Damn. I'm gonna move that also many times. You're gonna see it in process video. Anyway, and this represents him, because he was thinking, couldn't we have something in the background that related to him and his former job? And we came up with this one. Or maybe he that came up with this one, or me, or whatever, but it's kind of a so we figured out a way to make a symbol in a way, and it comes to, and there's shadows in them, but I'm just sketching them loosely now. They're way thinner, there's shadows drawn, and there's a lot of stuff happening in that. There's also some tape, duct tape products by accident here. These are details that I will actually work with as I go along. So this sketch is just the crude beginning. So yeah. And that shadow comes here. Shadow from the rope, and the shadow goes like up, like this. So in a way you have two ropes. You have a shadow and you have a rope. So that gives the necessary depth. You don't need more than that. It's a nice effect, you know. So yeah. Ratata. No more comments, please. Why, why? Why, why? Why? Because it's Friday night. People are out partying, having fun. And it's early in the morning. I don't know what time is it? What time is it now? See? It's in Norway, it's 4:41 in the morning. So, yeah. That's fine. Oh, God. The light is just horrible. Oh my God. It's kind of a cure for my vanity. It's kind of a cure. It's like my voice. I don't really like my own voice. I know a lot of people who also doesn't like their own voice. It's almost like what? It's not like. I think it has something to do with people not really thinking like this is how I sound. So when you hear your own voice, you kind of get shocked in a way. It's interesting to add some more here, like this, and get it a little bit wider, this head, because it is. And that ear goes a little bit, but also this ear goes more out like this, and therefore this one goes a little bit more out like this. And then, of course, the neck will also go a little bit more out like this, and then suddenly the face looks a little bit broader. And also, yeah. See now, here. Yeah, that's better. Okay, we need to get this one also out here, more like that, and voila, voila, like this, and voila. So, that's better. That is better. Okay, let's see how much time. 18 minutes, only 18 minutes. Do 10 more, then I need to get myself coffee. Coffee. What the fuck? So, cheers. Friday night. Maybe I should start doing these earlier so I get more people in here. Anyway. Now this one goes more out here. There's no doubt about that. And also goes more a little bit in like this. And like this. That's how the mm, mm, mm. That's the mobile telephone. So here. If you see this in hindsight, please give it a thumbs up. Leave comments because it's so important for the algorithm. I really problem getting into the algorithm. When YouTube actually finally puts one of my videos into the algorithm, I really get traction, but they usually don't. So I know that my name is flagged on Facebook and Instagram because of my politics and my support of people and causes that it's not that popular to actually be a part of, but I'm an atheist. I'm basically against religion, including Islam, not Muslims, you know, it's about the ideology. And I became a Trump supporter because of his stance on Iran, on China and Russia. He said, as he said to the Norwegian NATO secretary back in his last presidency, that China, Russia, North Korea and Iran is the greatest threats, and the biggest one is actually China because they are expanding rapidly, and he basically was willing to say it, you know, and willing to pull back economical support to China by adding tariffs and basically getting firms to start making shit in America instead of in China. And it kind of worked. It's kind of slowed down the economy of China. And he also stopped the pipeline that Germany wanted to make to get Russian gas, which today still finance the war in Ukraine, which is a total tragedy. There shouldn't be a war in Europe. We have had enough of that. And it's hard to understand why anyone would start a war when we have the history of the Second World War, First World War, the Bosnia conflict, you know, it killed hundreds of thousands of people, slaughtered for no good reason. All these people came into existence after not being for basically infinity, and then they are killed needlessly in a nationalistic conflict supported by Russia, and yeah, it's a tragedy. Or how terrorism killing both Muslims and everybody else who happen to be there when the bombs goes off. And it's just sad, you know, that we are living in a world we can't find final peace and get together and conquer space. So I love Carl Sagan, the pale blue dot, when he talks about these thugs or these dictators that have fallen in love with power and a lust for not necessarily money, but power in itself. Is power for these people are like sex, and they get addicted to it. It's like power is like a porn addiction in a way, and as they get more and more power hungry, they get meaner and meaner and more unhappy, and there is no person who is addicted to something, sex, money, women or men, whatever you like, or women, it doesn't matter. Nobody who is highly addicted to short bursts in any form is really happy. People aren't eating themselves to death because they are happy. They don't buy shit they don't need because they are happy. There's always some reason, underlying cause, that makes people make bad choices. Now, even a dictator like Kim Il-jung or Xi in China or Putin, these are not happy people. They are people who have lost basically everything, who are basing their petty existence on destroying or controlling other people. And you can see how Kim Il-jung, how he looks, how fat he is. I mean, with all that money and all that power, he is not able to control his own food intake because he's eating to get his dopamine. Putin is not a happy man, and he can't stop the war because he's so addicted to power, and he knows if he stops the war he will be killed, or if he loses the war he will be taken out in some form of another or another. I hope they take him down into the Kremlin, do like they did with Beria. They put the henchman of Stalin. When Stalin died, there was a power struggle, and Khrushchev actually won that power struggle happily, because if not, it would be just another catastrophe. And what they did, they gave him a summary trial where he was accused for the gulags, among other things. He also had taken little girls, underage girls, and brought them to his home and sexually assaulted them and killed them. So he was accused of that, and they condemned him to death, and they took him down into the cellar of Kremlin. He was screaming for his life. He had killed millions, but he was screaming for his life. And then they put a cloth in his mouth because they wanted him to stop whining. And then they put a bullet in his head. It's basically a shame they didn't hang him on the Red Square, but so that's how he ended, and that is probably how Kim Il-jung will end. That is maybe how Xi will end if he loses the power struggle. And Putin, it's like that. Kim Il-jung. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's not far into the future. There's just a couple of smart generals in Russia who sees that this doesn't work anymore. Or the party or the Chinese, they just say, well, this doesn't work. And now they are trying to invade Taiwan, which a war they probably will lose. So we will see dramatic changes. And if Xi falls or China falls, we could actually take out China any day. We could just stop having them making all the goods, and maybe we could pay a little higher price for like iPads and phones, and then we didn't need to use so much money on weapons and defense, because China wouldn't be a threat anymore, because they are basically held up alive by us buying shit from China. So we are basically the enabler of basically Adolf Hitler. the worst thing was when we found out that our medicines or our antibiotics was being made in China. In China during COVID, because of the sanctions of Donald Trump. Just get one more. Yeah, okay. The sanctions of Donald Trump. Wait a minute, I need to fill more. Not ready. So, yeah, the sanctions of Donald Trump put on China. They threatened during COVID to stop sending the West antibiotics. And without antibiotics, you can't really do any surgery. You can't fight infections. And people would start dying from gangrene, sepsis, en masse. And it's crazy to have China produce things that are so important. And we should take the jobs back. I mean, much of Norway, my country, is basically financed by oil revenue. People don't find jobs anymore. People don't work that much in industry. We don't make the fish here. We move it to China, and it's crazy. You know, we need to take back the jobs and maybe have a long period with no increase of salaries and get inflation under control. Try to get the whole world to come to the same level of economic prosperity, so people basically pay the same price for goods wherever you live in the world. That would be the way to go. So yeah. Anyway, that was a derailment from a digression again from my painting. I see that wasn't so interesting. Anyway, let me see now. I'm just gonna do a little bit more with that rope thing, and I need to take a cup of coffee, and I'm starting to feel tired, so I guess I'm gonna go to bed soon. I'm also gonna go to the gym tomorrow with my girls, so I need to be a little bit more sharp, and this can just dry a little bit, and I will. Yeah, this also has to be higher. Let's see, this, I guess, like this. Yeah. Okay. And this, you see how I mold this? And just go in like this. Oh, hello, hello. Say hello. Give a thumbs up. I see new people watching. Come on, thumbs up. Anyway, yeah. That's how it is. That's how it is. It's strange how people have problems smashing that like button. It doesn't cost anything, and it's the, if you like a channel, you like something somebody does, it's basically the one of the most important things you can do. Today, I saw it's even more important than having subscribers. The likes are more important than subscribers. And yeah, it's crazy. I can also see that compared to the hand, I should have put the, maybe this is going to be higher. So that is difficult to say if this is going to be higher or this is lower. I think actually this is going to be a little bit higher because it kind of goes up like this. The perspective is more like this, so I probably painted this hand a little bit too low, and I need to get it kind of more up like this. But that also is things I fix as I go along. Right now it doesn't matter. In general, the most of the things are in, and so now it's a mess here. I almost can't get any more color there now, and I can just do. There's a spot here. There are things happening in the background, which I'm going to add in tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a stream earlier tomorrow. And here it is. Also more stuff happening in the background. And of course the rope that comes down like this somewhere. But that is the things that I just will add as I go along. So there's something, you know, there is something, I can see there's something. Yeah, I think his shoulders needs to be higher. That I can see. It goes down here. And it comes basically out here. And it goes out like this. And this one also is going to be then a little bit higher. Because I felt that the head was kind of too tall, but maybe it was actually the body that was too thin. And so, but that is also things that I will kind of adjust as I go along. Yep. Just gonna add in some. This and here like this. These are things that are so thick with paint now it won't really stick. And I will have all the, you know, all the details will come later. Yeah. It's a bunch of things happening actually all over the place. You know. So I think this is also going to be higher like this. Because the perspective is in, like down and in. So it's kind of like this in a way. And then this hand goes I think, yeah, it needs to be higher. I see that now, it actually needs to be higher. Maybe that is why people actually prefer to use a projector or some diagrams or something. But I find it to be the most interesting challenge of the one of the most, that and deep detail. Sometimes it's actually the thing in between that can be the most tedious, when you have a nice sketch and you have to tear it down and start rebuilding. That can be quite, you kind of in that in between thing. But when you get really deep into detail, you start to get into that deep flow, and it's just heaven. This is heaven in a different way, because I can actually be in the conscious when I do this. It is because the sketching process is more fluent and more, there's need that extremely deep silence. That's why I can actually talk. But if I go into deep detail, I tend to suddenly just disappear. And even in some of my videos, suddenly I'm silent. And I forget that you're here, I forget that I'm actually filming, because it's so concentrating about details or so. If you see here, I go like this. Of course I have the same light in this that in here. Right now, I think I don't have enough clean colors to put in. Maybe I'll try. I'm out of, maybe use some cobalt now, just to see what happens. Like this is, yeah, so that's okay. Can do that. Do it like this and just, and you have this one here underneath, and there's some, yeah. Okay. Ho ho ho! Then I think I'm done for tonight. For the ones of you who were watching, I thank you for that. I wish somebody asked more questions. Remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you see it on my channel, you can leave a comment after the fact. I will post this as a new stream on my channel. So, yeah. So this is painted a portrait of a man, part 2. Part 2, yes. Okay, I need a break anyway. So see you around. Thanks for watching and leave a thumbs up. As I said, if you want me to coach you, go to YouTube. Go to PATRON, and you also find a link to my Facebook if you want to talk to me more personally. And yeah, but then you have to become a patron first, of course. So I can't waste my time on people who aren't reciprocating, as they say. It's different when I stream here because, yeah, because. Because I do. Yes. Okay, bye-bye.